So we're going to start working with text, and I'm going to teach you how to create something like this. Now, the one thing I don't like about this is how her eye is blocked out. So I'm going to go you can modify this however you want. But we're going to actually go here, and you can see I took Tony and I asked him a single word. Give me one word to describe yourself, and he actually said quiet. So took this picture. What you guys are going to do is you're going to take a picture of yourself and describe yourself in one word. So let's start making this here. It's actually done in just a few steps. I blurred out his shirt right here only so there was a dark background. So the first thing I need to do is unlock the background, and I need to make a selection. So I'm going to go to my quick selection tool, make sure it's on plus, and do a quick selection. We're going to be deleting the background, but we're not going to hit delete to do it. We're going to make a layer mask in order to do it. There we go. Oh. Okay, so I'll go minus and just get rid of some of these parts here, and that looks pretty good. If I need to clean up the selection, I can go to mask and select. I've put it on a red background to see, and I'm going to click here to add to the selection, see if I can clean up some of the hair there. So there we go, and I'm going to click OK. So now that I have the selection made, I'm going to click the layer mask icon, and you can see what it does as it makes a layer mask with the picture. So it, in a sense, cuts out the background. I'm going to hit Command J to keep a duplicate copy here, and now I need to put a white background here. So I'm going to just click a blank layer and move it in between these two, and I'm going to hit Command Delete, and the white background will go in here. It would have chosen any color that was set to background, so you want to make sure that this is set to black and white. You can hit D for default and just make sure your background is set to white. Alright, now I'm ready to work. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go to my text, and I want to change it to vertical text tool. I'm going to choose something that's pretty bold. Let's make sure this is on bold. Not everything has a bold text to it. I started off here. Let's see how that looks. All right, so what this is going to do is it's going to type horizontally, or excuse me, vertically. So I'm going to type in Q-U-I-E-T. And once I've done that, I'll hit enter, and I can move that around. It's created a new layer. If I need to change the spacing here, I'm going to highlight this, and I can go up to Window, Character, and you can see I can adjust the spacing here. This is called kerning, and I can change the distance in between these letters. You may have to do that. These should be fairly tight letters. That's a little too tight there. There we go. I can change the distance as well, or the size of these. Here is the font height. I don't need to change that. It's set to all capitalized. There we go. That'll make it a little bit bolder. But the characters, these will change the characters. You may have to play with these, but characters and paragraphs are usually right next to each other. All right, so I have that together. I'm going to hit Command T for my free transform and hold Shift down and make this bigger. Now what you want to do is you want to have one of the openings of the letters fit in between the person's eye. So I'll click OK. Now that I've done that, I will go to my layer mask, and I want to cover up some of these empty spots in the layers. So I'll go to my brush tool, and I'm going to paint black in between the letters. These work really good with letters that are closed. Once I've done this, though, I'm pretty much committed to this is where it's going to go, because if I try to move the text, it's going to show up. All right, now that I have my layer mask selected, I'm going to go to my text and I'm going to hit the command button, and you can see what happens is you get this little icon that's going to make a selection. So I just selected the text, and I'm going to go to select, modify, and I'm going to move that selection out more. So in this case, I'm going to do it 30 pixels. That's quite a bit, but I'm doing that just for emphasis. And you can see what it did is it moved that selection out 30 pixels. Then I'm going to go into and hit Alt Delete or Alt Backspace. Oh, no, have to go back to my layer mask here. Alt Backspace, and what it did is it filled that with white. Command D to deselect, and we're almost done here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this layer all the way to the top, and then delete the layer mask. Boom. Okay. Once that's done, I'm going to control click or right click and go create clipping mask. This is going to move this picture right into the quiet. There we go. I can then go to my move tool and I can move, as long as this is still selected, I can move this around. I can hit Command T and I can change the size so that it would match a little bit. There we go. I would like that hue to be a little bit less empty, so I'm going to hit enter to place, go back to my layer mask here, and I'm going to paint white, but I'm just going to let it have a little bit of an opacity here. My cap locks are locked. That's what gives me the little crosshairs. And let's see. There we go. You can play around or you can modify it however you need to get that in there, but I just don't want a weird selection in there. Keeps going in there. Command T to move it. There we go. All right. Hit enter. And now I'm going to go back to my layer mask, click my brush, and I'm going to go 100%, and I'm going to start painting over this side. And there you have it. Again, I didn't do this right away because I didn't know where I was going to have to make any sort of selection here. This right here is still a little dark, so if I needed to, I could go in there and paint with black. Oops. Command Z to undo. Save it as a JPEG and go ahead and post it.